Welcome into the 51, welcome into the SR 51 Media 51 Minicast. Let's wait a second here to make sure the audio levels are coming through. And I'm not just talking into the wind here. Waiting for that audio check to make sure things are straight. I might gotta reload the page. Just want to make sure things are correct. It's always the first thing I do to make sure that we're coming through clearly. The levels are looking good. We're not redlining. Okay. So we have, audio coming through. So as I was saying, welcome into the SR51 Media 51 Minicast for the 51 Dynasties. I am your host, Saul Aries. Today's topics are going to range from comics to video games to streaming to the future of tech to the future of our consumption of tech. We got a lot of things we're going to cover, but not too many topics. I don't want to keep you here too long. I just wanted to kind of talk about some things that's been on my mind these past couple days. I know it's been a couple days that you haven't heard from us. We were on vacation, showing a great time in Cali by family, and at the same time, we're back now, and we're going to continue the content as normal. And one of the first things I wanted to do was get a stream going. Now, also to make you aware, I have some dental things I will be scheduling. So when that happens, I will make you aware on Twitter that basically I probably won't be playing the game as much or doing as many streams just for those days. You know how you get something done and you're kind of knocked out for those first couple of days until you get your feet back under you. So I'm not going to try to press myself to get it done. That's why I was like, okay, let's get some of these streams out here with some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about beforehand. Also, with, as you can tell, the background screen is going to be Titanfall. I'm not going to try to get a game going or anything like that because I'd have to worry about, like with sports, sometimes I use sports, but then you have to worry about background music and things like that playing. So we're just going to go with a silent background. That way the audio can be better. So the first topic, updates on the SR51 Media comic. So let me grab a vape here. Small vape. If you don't know, myself and Rosaries are both digital artists. Now, myself, I've always yearned for outlets as an artist. Okay, so that's why, as you can tell, we draw our own logos. We draw our own screen. We put in screen transitions that kind of come from us. Our icons are from us. But for me, there was always a thought about taking it to the next level. You know, like adding another notch to being a digital artist, you know, starting off as an original artist. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and go down the long road of, schooling or education, because I had a little bit. I didn't really finish it. But at the same time, I'm more so self-taught myself. And a lot of things nowadays can more so be learned online through either paying for it or just, getting it free. So a lot of things I feel as though with the comic I can handle myself, like inking, sketching, coloring, writing, basically outside of everything that I wouldn't do with Rosaries, I'm thinking that I'm just going to do myself. Because when you involve too many outlets, like one of the main things I'm hearing about, let's say, the beginning of the process is people are saying that when you get freelancers, like when you get someone to do, say, the inking, right? And that person has a busy schedule, that can push back your deadline. So with the SR51 Media comic, the updates that's been kind of going on there is I've been looking to see what are the steps after you finish, like publishing and let's say copyrights, trademarks. These are things that you need to know before you're so focused on just making the comic itself. So as it stands, there's still a lot of things that I'm looking into that I am happy with the results. For me, financially, it is something that I want to be in a position where when it's done, when SR51 Media's name is put on it, that basically it's an entertainment project. Like I can basically on an average day, afford to keep SR51 Media, the video game section, going. So if you're going to add a comic book side, or I shouldn't say comic book, I use comic book as a term. It's looking more like a graphic novel. So, and several of them, if you're going to basically publish graphic novels while at the same time doing the video game thing, because this wouldn't be a conversation about finishing. That's one of the main things that is keeping it from coming out right now, is because of the fact that I have so many different things going on that I don't want to put myself into a position where basically you're overloaded. You see what I'm saying? What I'm looking for is a type of schedule where the graphic novel is either, let's say it's January, and I plan on releasing a graphic novel maybe 2 a year, right? Maybe 2, 1 in the year, 1 from the beginning, either the first quarter or the second quarter, and then 1 holiday one, regardless of what holiday you pick, right? Maybe Christmas, right? SR51 Media saves Christmas, who knows, right? So when you go down that route, you have a schedule that you have to keep up with. So there's going to be things that I have to do outside of streaming the game and playing the game. So what's going to have to happen is there's also equipment. Don't get me wrong. I have a beautiful iPad. If you did not read it, let me tell you right now, go over to www.sr51media.com, go under the print board section and read our write-up for the MacBook Pro and how we talk about the connectivity between that. If you have not read that, read that and our connectivity paths of your products, and it will explain what I'm talking about, where basically, we lost the screen there. It'll explain what I'm talking about, where basically the connectivity between your, let me see something. There you go. Go into this screen. The connectivity between your products are so good that, yes, you could do a full graphic novel or comic book from an iPad, but there is better equipment, like very big screens that you could draw on and stuff, Now, right now in the position I'm in, I'm looking at it like, okay, if you're going to be getting stuff done every day, right? If you're going to have to do a schedule here, there's equipment that you need to buy. Just like when I told you guys I was going to take the next step in the gaming stream and update our equipment, this is stuff that you'd have to buy for comics. So this is what I mean about, the comic is still being thought about, and there's certain things that I'm thinking about that are steps that have to be taken. So just to let you know, the comic is still, the graphic novel, oh snaps, it connected me to a match. Oh, that was the sound effects in the background. I thought the damn sound excuse me, to tell you the truth, I thought the damn sound effects was coming from Rosaries just now. Damn sound effects coming from a game. I'm gonna have to quit this game. I know these guys gonna be pissed. I hope they wasn't in the middle of something. I'm gonna have to quit this game because I'm not. Let me back up from this. So yeah, as I was saying, so there's certain equipment and things that I was looking at that I was like, okay, I need to think about buying, and then also at the same time I was like, okay, there's a lot of different things that people say that I wouldn't have to put up with. Like if I'm footing the bill. If Salt Aries and Rose Aries are footing the bill, if SR51 Media is gonna, foot the bill for this problem, in all the situations of it, then basically what ends up happening is the product comes out differently. You see what I'm saying? Like now the stories, right? Instead of the stories being driven by money, not saying that the entire comic book or graphic novel industry is driven by money, but some artists are doing things because it's the popular thing. And we're going to get into that. Some artists are doing things because it's the profitable thing. If I was footing the bill, it's entertainment. Like I'm doing it just like I do the gaming thing. God, I love doing this. Oh, I just want to show people it's just it's a passion product. So, I just want to let you know that, it's alive. The SR51 Media, excuse me, the SR51 Media publishing is alive. There's some things we're still looking at, and I will keep you updated on that. Okay, so the next topic. My thoughts on anime or Western style. Which have I chosen, if any? Now, I've been doing some research, and if I could say anything, I think when it comes to comics and graphic novels, anime versus Western is like Nintendo versus Sega, or DC versus Marvel, or Apple versus Microsoft. These wars exist in everything we are. It's who we are as people. I like orange, you like blue. I like red, you like green. Okay? That's just the way it works. For me, myself, when I think about drawing and I think about long term drawing, because it's different it's different. Like, I see these, just to be honest, I see these stories like because I don't want to use an anime, but I'm gonna use one. Like, say, take Bloody Zeus for instance, right? Amazing show. I felt it was great. Told some of the great stories, but when's the next one coming out? You know, and you look at some things in the comic world, in the graphic novel world, and you hear people, oh, anime is crushing everything, and everything needs to be anime, and basically you need to only be doing anime. And I'm sitting up here like, okay, so you guys are drawing on the Japanese style of things for your art, right? Now, myself, one second. Now, myself, right, as a digital artist, excuse me, myself as a digital artist, when I'm thinking about drawing on my, when I say drawing, I mean like fueling from, right? When I go to think about what's going to fuel me to do the stories over the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, right? I think more Western, you know? And don't get me wrong, I love Dragon Ball Z. It's one of the main shows that I've been watching since, I want to say I started watching around the time of original Dragon Ball Z. So that'd be Dragon Ball, right? I started watching during Dragon Ball when it was being aired in America. And then basically, as I'm just letting you know, throwing down some water, trying to make those healthier options. So the thing of it is, when Dragon Ball was being aired, which is a great show, I actually felt that I wanted to see the books. So I researched and looked up in a couple comic stores and a couple bookstores Dragon Ball books, and I saw how the show basically mirrored the book. Okay, and the reason why I'm putting this together for you is so you can have an understanding of where this kind of versus thing comes from and why it exists, right? So typically, Dragon Ball Z would make a book set, and then the TV show would be based off the book. Now, when you look at Western style, typically, when a book blows up, whether it's a written book or a graphic novel or a comic book, it gets made into a TV show or a movie, and sometimes goes on to longer things. See, some shows that are based off of, that most people don't know, that are based off of basically comic books, are The Walking Dead. Game of Thrones was based off of a book set, right? That 10-year TV span was based off of a book set, right? Just looking at a couple of other things. Watchmen, the TV show that just came on, is based off of a comic book set. And there's a lot of other ones. And these are shows that you might have been watching and not knowing. Like even The Walking Dead, you might not have known that it started off in a book set, right? So Hollywood, in its, let's say, who it is, draws from books at the same time it draws from visual, right? Like, how some people say, well, you should make a cartoon because everybody watches cartoons. Well, you have to understand that I'm not making things for children. You see what I'm saying? Like, the audience that I'm going for is grown adults, basically 18 and up, or at least preteens and up, because of the fact I shouldn't say preteens and up. One second. I shouldn't say preteens and up because it's probably more of an adult thing and up. And the reason why I say that is because I feel as though, and this is anime or Western too, adults are in a position where when they hear cartoons or they hear comic books, if this doesn't have a gripping story, they couldn't see watching it. 1 second. Wash your hands. I didn't know where I went to the car. Oh, okay. When they hear, when you hear that basically cartoons, because you might have heard that just now when I was talking to Rose Aries, when you hear things like cartoons and comics and things like that, the first thing you think of is Batman and Superman, the Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, because these stories have been being told since like 1935, right? Now, the reason why these stories can stick around, to tell you the truth, I feel, is because of the fact, well, one of the reasons why I feel this way is because of what they tackle. You see what I'm saying? If you look back in our history, most of these comics were tackling things like Nazis, racism, mutants themselves, hearing it from Stan Lee, if I'm not mistaken, are minorities. Okay, that's his adaptation of minorities. He just didn't label it that way. So what he did was, let's say all the mutants, right? All the mutants and all the X-Men and all the mutants that you see that are in the world of X-Men and stuff like that, right, are technically minorities, right? If you look close at what's the name of that cartoon? If you look close at X-Men on Channel 29, right? When I say Channel 29, like everybody had Channel 29, but if you look close at X-Men, they used to appear in the 90s. You might be able to find some footage on YouTube. Oh, excuse me. You can stream it from Disney Plus. If you pause the screen when the when the Sentinel is scanning, what's her name, Jubilee, you will see that it says Chinese American. Now, some of the things that's not really tackled and understood nowadays is they are changing who they are, right, to appeal to nowadays people. When people see Dragon Ball Z, a lot of times, I love Dragon Ball Z, but if I had to be honest, Dragon Ball Z comes nowhere near a Superman, because Superman's tackling like real life stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like being ostracized as a person, hate that exists in America and stuff like that, in other parts of the country, doing the right thing, all of these sorts of things. It's not that it's not there in Dragon Ball Z, but when you get more of the cartoon feel from Dragon Ball Z, I love it. But with Superman, if I turn on what's the name of their streaming service? It's not HBO. It's like if I turn on where DC is, right, and I go watch the Justice League or a Superman movie or a Batman movie, right? Batman is dealing with real life stuff, right? The Joker's like Joker's like a real life person that is terrorizing a city. But then if you look close, Batman might be the one terrorizing the city if you look at the theories and stuff like that. So it's not to say that anime doesn't touch down on real things, but to tell you the truth, and it has to be said because it's a real life thing also, anime is great, but when it also comes to the representation of women, see, I don't plan on saying, okay, we're making a product just for men. You see what I'm saying? I want it to appeal to women and women of all ages. So when you make a product and they got triple J breast and, they got little starry things over their nipples and they got a thong and, and they got a fucking bikini ab section where the stomach is cut out and they got some high heel boots on and stuff. And this is their damn uniform and everybody else is fully dressed and stuff. That's the sort of thing that if you lie to me right now, if you sit up here and listen to this and try to lie to me and tell me that that's okay when you go to buy this book, you are a liar. And you know damn well that you would not buy this book. And most women that are listening to this will say, I wouldn't go nowhere near that stuff because of the fact of how to represent it. Now, that's not to say that basically I'm punching down on anime because, like I said, anime is a great thing. I think it helps fuel creativity in the West and vice versa. I'm just saying that for me, when I'm going to draw, that's not even how I draw. Like most of the time, there may be a little bit sexiness appealed to female characters, just like it is to men. Like when you look close, when was the last time you seen Batman and Superman look like they don't live in the gym? Like these motherfuckers, Superman and Batman look like they don't do nothing but lift weights, right? So at the same time, you don't even see regular sized people, you know? Like only people you see that are regular size are typically in the streets. So anime and Western, you could go on forever about the differences in the art styles, but I think if I had to say anything, they're both great, right? And what I'm doing is still doing the research to see which one is best for us. But as it stands, I do think Western is probably going to be the way I'm going. So marking it down today, so far it looks like Western. Okay. So the next topic, my thoughts on digital or print. Which one have I chosen, if any? Okay. So if you don't know, the comic book industry and the graphic novel industry is going through a change right now where people are starting to read things digitally, meaning that when you go to buy a book or you go to buy a comic book or you go to read something, most people have Kindles, iPads, iPhones, Android devices where they read these things digitally. Now, once again, that's something that I looked into, and I think that digital is the best option. Like, if anything's going to happen, it's definitely going to be digital. And I think we're still wondering if it's going to be a print option. Because you have to understand, if you extend the bar too far, trying to cover too many bases, then what can end up happening is you lose some of your luster. You see what I'm saying? Like basically, there's a price to make a digital book, and then there's a price to make a digital book and a personal book. You see what I'm saying? And then there's certain people that don't do that, right? Certain people only do digital. Some people only do paperback. You know, it's one or another. So to be honest, right now, I feel as though the digital market, even though it's still a new market and it's still kind of small, I think it's one of the best markets to go with, because when you look around, yes, some people are still carrying books, but most people aren't making the trips to get those books. You know, like they're not, oh, I got to go to the bookstore to buy the latest graphic novel from SR51 Media. Like, could you see yourself showing up to the bookstore every couple of months or at least twice a year on time to buy our book? Or could you see yourself ordering our book online through a publishing site online? You know, it's probably easier for you, even online. If I'm telling you, hypothetically, if you're watching a game stream that I'm doing and you basically say, and I say to you, hey, check out our graphic novel. It just dropped a couple of weeks ago. And I can put a link in the chat where you can go directly and buy it. That product, not to say it sounds more appealing to you, but I feel that it's more appealing to you than me saying go past Barnes and Nobles and go to aisle 6, right? Because you can maybe get up the next morning and not feel like it. Or at the same time, you may lose your interest in it going through all of that to have to get it done. You might not have been to a Barnes and Noble's bookstore or a bookstore in years, right? And be like, I'm not doing that. You know, because it doesn't fit into the lifestyle of what people are living now. Some of the things we're going to be talking about, even with the gaming section, it's not about where we are now. It's not about where we were. It's about where we are now and where we're going. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, if I was just making a comic book and I was going to be like, yeah, here it is on a piece of paper, let's get it out of here, it's whatever. But there's a lot of things that go into making these things. And one of the major things is digital or print. Now, a lot of people say print is better because, you know, you can hold some in your hands. But when you think about people on a train, when you think about people on planes, when you think about people just normally chilling in their house, a lot of times that phone and that tablet is in their hands. It's not a book, right? So for me and our brand, it's seeming more like digital. So if I had to answer that question today for the 51 Dynasties, it seemed like it's going to be digital. Right now, I don't know about the print. So yes to digital, maybe on the print. Okay, so the next topic, and what seems to be the last topic in the graphic novel comic section, is if it happens, if all goes right, will it be a long-term thing? So, yes. The reason why I have delayed and have not got around to doing the comic book or the graphic novel in a while is because I don't plan on doing it for a couple of months. One thing that I think people don't understand about somebody like, say, George R.R. Martin, right? This was his plan the whole damn time. Let me hip you to the game, okay? As an artist or any sort of creator, when you create something, you know if it's going to end or not. When everybody sat up here and advertised Game of Thrones to us for the past 10 years and let me ask you something. If you knew when the last season of Game of Thrones aired that there was going to be a Game of Thrones reboot 5 months later, you might not have watched Game of Thrones as much, right? And then also, George R.R. Martin made the decision to make content for this thing to be in existence, right? So he stepped outside of everything is dying. Look at Game of Thrones. Everything's dying. It's the end of the season. No, this is still going on. So you have a book, right, that basically started 10 years ago and is now, being adapted into a Hollywood TV show almost 10 plus years later. Now, don't get me wrong, and I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like it's different. When Hollywood takes over with a story, you don't really have a lot of control. You're a consultant. From what I can tell, you're a consultant. They come to you like, hey, this is it. And you get a check, of course, but how the show is played and things like that are typically based off of your characters, kind of like how the Ninja Turtles I grew up with looks nothing like the Ninja Turtles that you see in the movies today, right? They look like they're on, 12 pounds of steroids. Not that it's a bad thing because you want them to look muscled up, but it is what it is. People arguing differences of styles and things like that. So the reason why it's been delayed is because there's a difference when you make a comic book or you make a graphic novel and you only plan on doing it for a couple months or maybe 2 years. Like maybe you got an idea and you're like, oh, you know what? I just want to draw for a couple years. I'm the type of person where right now I'm in my 30s, right? If I start this up, I could see doing this late into my 50s before I even pass it off to a child or somebody else. You see what I'm saying? Or a business or something like that. So when you get involved with something, if you plan on going that long, there's a lot of steps that have to be done first, and you have to do it the right way. Not because you only get one launch, but we're not looking to try and get a quick buck. That's what I mean about what we were talking about keeping the cost in-house. If you can keep the cost, you ever heard that from a business when they say, we try not to pass on the cost to the customer? That means that their product, to be honest with you, the majority of the time stands at a certain class. Like you skip a certain level. Certain people that they're passing the cost off to the customer, meaning like, let's say they sell you the graphic novel and they're selling it for $20, right? And they need all of that $20 to put towards a profit to basically keep the business alive. The second that somebody doesn't press click on that, then that content could change in the next book, or the marketing of where it is or the availability of where it is could change in the next book due to profits. If you keep the cost in-house and someone doesn't click on that book, it doesn't change anything because you have a set path on what you're doing and what you like. Even your stories are told differently. I feel like, to tell you the truth, it's just like in YouTube. Some people do things for clicks. Some people do things because they love it. And the people that do it because they love it, a lot of times their content is different than the people that do it for clicks. Like somebody like myself, like I love playing the game. So you don't have to, I'm not doing this to, fuel a war or anything like that. Like I own a PlayStation and an Xbox. It ain't next gen, but at the same time, before they moved on, I was fine and healthy with everything. Now, just saying, to wrap this, question up, because we're about to get into the gaming section. If it does happen, long-term means long-term. And yes, if it does happen, it will be a long-term project. Now, getting into the gaming sides of things. The first topic in the gaming section is 4K Switch pics have leaked. My thoughts on it. So if you did not know, if you have not looked it up, some pictures from, I'm not sure where they came from, but some pictures of a 4K Switch have supposedly made its way online. Now, I'm going to bring in the next topic so that way we can kind of bring them together, right? Oh, well, I'm not going to bring in the next topic. I'm going to stick with this one. Change my mind, right? So here's my thoughts on this. The Switch has been talked about for a good period of time now. Right? Somewhere around the time of, I want to say last year, probably, right? So to me, it seems like it's more real. Like, okay, basically it's becoming more and more of a real thing, right? But at the same time, you have to ask yourself how this plays into everyone else, right? So that's why I said that I wanted to bring into the next topic because it ties in. If the new Switch is real, what does it mean for the competition? Okay, so let's imagine that there's a 4K Switch. It has everything everybody's saying. It's a 4K Switch. It has Bluetooth capabilities. Everything. It's getting Madden 22. It's going to be a bigger battery. You can watch YouTube and Hulu. You can do all these things on it. It has the internet probably, right? But it's going to cost more money, right? Now, here's the question that I would pose to you, right? Which console are you getting now? See, it's easy to sit up here and say, well, it's Xbox, PlayStation, Xbox, PlayStation. But for some of us, just like I explained to you about the comic thing, most people is on the go, whether it be their jobs, whether it be just entertainment and travel, whether it be just not having the time. Some people, when they come home, they have a lot of busy things like, okay, when you think about TVs in people's homes, right? A lot of times they're structured in the living room, bedroom area, right? To plug in, to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to put in 3 or 4 hours into this game and it's in front of a TV is something that most people would choose not to do if they had an option, right? That's why the Switch is selling what it is. And to be honest with you, when I look at the charts, and I've put up a lot of charts, if I'm not mistaken, I think Nintendo's still number one, right? Because I feel of the portability and it being a console at the same time. Now, if the 4K Switch is real, right, it puts you into a situation going into this holiday. That's what I was talking about earlier in previous shows. If it was real, now going into the holidays, you would have to make a choice between the Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo because of the fact that Nintendo now stands on point, right? Basically, coming into the next topic, why this puts Nintendo firmly in the driver's seat again. So you have to understand that PlayStation and Xbox have already said, we want to make our stuff streamable, right? We want to make you to a point where you can stream your games on the go. Now, that's all well and good to say you want to do that, but Nintendo's already doing that. Like when I reach over to my Nintendo Switch, and that's something I got to get set up on the stream where basically I'm playing Nintendo on the stream instead of just basically, not streaming at all. 1 second. So what I was saying was, when you look at it, okay, if they say, well, we're dropping a 4K Switch and it got all the bells and whistles on it. First of all, I'm going to tell you like this. I'm already okay with buying it from a scalper because I know it's going to be sold out. Because what they're going to say is, well, if I had to guess, this is just me throwing out a guess here. I'm not, don't write me down for this one, right? But if I'm guessing correctly, it's now July. So you count up July, August, September, October. Those are the last 4 months when you can put something on the shelf before it gets classified as basically Black Friday and you have to wait till a certain date to buy and get a sale on it, right? Now, if I had to guess, Nintendo probably wouldn't be offering any sorts of sales on a system that just came out 2 or 3 months ago. But what they would be trying to capture is those 4 months of sales. You see what I'm saying? Like, say they drop it at E3 and then it's on the shelf a week from now, or you could pre-order it a week from now. So all the pre-orders sell out, and then now they're like it's sold out. So now when you go into the holidays and you're like, oh, I'm getting ready to buy a next-gen console. Well, Nintendo's a next-gen console at this point in most people's eyes. I feel as though it's a next-gen console already, but most people, want more. And it's understandable. I want more. I'm going to tell you what I want. I want Madden. I want Assassin's Creed. I want the games that when I turn on my Xbox, I play on my Xbox. Because if I can play those same games on my Nintendo, that doesn't mean I'm not going to play that Xbox, but it does mean I'll probably play it a little less. Okay? Because you have to understand, being able to kick back on, kick your feet up and play it anywhere in the house is appealing. And it's a 4K screen. Yes, it is appealing. Okay? Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. So, the next topic. Before we wrap that, I did want to say also, Anything else that comes out about the Nintendo Switch, that's why I got the minicast going today. Anything else that comes out about the Nintendo Switch news, I'll try to keep you updated either on Twitter or on a minicast. The next topic, Madden 22 might be coming with a demo, but it seems it comes for only next gen. Does that mean it will only be playable on next gen? Okay, so if you don't know, it's news floating around where there's a sign up on EA's website. Now, from what I'm hearing in the community, typically when that happens, that's because a demo is coming. Now, when you sign up for the demo, the only platforms that you can play the demo on, pickable, is the new Xbox and PlayStation 5. So the question is Madden getting ready to jump the shark? Is Madden getting ready to say the only way you can play the new Madden 22 is with the new Xbox or the new PlayStation? Now, the reason why this ties into the next topic is because I want to tie them together. My thoughts on next gen today. Now, everything I just said. Now let's sit back, right? And now let's look at next gen today. Next gen as of today, to me, is starting to become a little bit of who said what when they said it. Okay, Xbox told us you have 2 years before we close the door on games. Madden sound like they might be closing the door in August. Okay, God of War was, excuse me, let me get some water here. God of War was delayed into next year. Okay, to me, Nintendo is winning right now. And the reason why Nintendo is winning is because of the fact that they already have given you a portable console that plays great games, but are supposedly in the works for a better console that 9 times out of 10 is going to play everybody's games. So when you see, if I'm not mistaken, games like Assassin's Creed, if Assassin's Creed has already put a game on the Nintendo Switch, I think it's Assassin's Creed, the third one, right? You might have access to all the other Assassin's Creeds. That's amazing. To be able to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Valhalla on a Switch. What? You know? Now, let's forget the whole Xbox might come around and give them Game Pass. Let's say you don't get Game Pass. You know how many games are out there? You talking about Saints Row games. How about GTA? How about you can play GTA portable on a bus or on a plane or on a train somewhere, right? You know how many people going to be tuning in or something like that? So to me, I feel like what this did was it put Nintendo in, if the news is true, this puts Nintendo in the driver's seat at number 1. 2 and 3 to me are going to come down to what PlayStation and Xbox do. Right now, PlayStation is putting out a lot of games and Xbox is putting out a lot of schedules for big banger games. So it's going to come down to a dogfight between those two. But for me, if I had to say anything, and if I had to advise the 51 Dynasties on anything, if you are the type of person, if I had to size this up before we get out of here, because this is going to be my last topic here. If you are the type of person that has a 9-to-5 job, or, excuse me, if you are the type of person that has a 9-to-5 job, or you spend time traveling, or this summer you plan on spending time with friends, or let's say over the course of the rest of this year, you are going to be in a 24, let's break it down to a 24-hour schedule. In a 24-hour day, if you game 5 or 6 hours or more in that day, and you want the ability to take that with you, and you're tired of being always at home in front of the TV, yeah, you might want to think about buying a Nintendo ahead of an Xbox and PlayStation. Now, if you're the type of person where those 5 or 6 hours, you don't care if it's only at a console and you're not looking for a portable and you don't want to play your games on the go, then yeah, grab you an Xbox or a PlayStation, make your next gen jump. But also, you might want to wait to see what E3 does, because if Madden is truly going to be that way, when they announce Madden, I think in August or something, that's when, you know, things could change. Now, just to give you a warning, there is a kind of, let's say, rumor floating around that the scalpers have found out about all of this, and that basically right now you can get an Xbox Series S, an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 for about $100 or close to $100 to $200 more than what you pay for the regular retail price. Now you have to think, if Madden 22 comes out in August 20th, let's just say that's the date, comes out August 20th, and they flash at the bottom, only playable on the PlayStation 5, the Nintendo 4K, the new Nintendo, let's say Pro, the Switch Pro, the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X or S. Scalpers can then turn around and say, well, the Xbox Series X is now $1,000. The PlayStation is now $1,000 because people will be hungry to be able to play Madden. People will be hungry to want to put it under the Christmas tree. So this is going to be something that's not going to be solved up just today. We're only in, right now, what's the date here? We're only in June 8th. I'm pretty sure E3 is right around the corner. We'll get more information then. I won't be doing a live reaction. What I will be doing is some sort of content either that same day or depending on how it flows on my work schedule, within a timely amount of time. I think I'm going to do a video reaction. I don't really think I'm going to get into a written reaction, but I think there might be something I want to write about what's going on now with this whole next gen thing, because it is starting to get a little bit confusing for people. Maybe, I got to put out more information because it changes. Like when I saw the Madden leak thing, and then I saw the 4K Switch leak thing, and then I hadn't kept you up to date with the comic book stuff, I was like, nah, we got to get a mini cast going. So I'm not going to try to do anything like get a game stream going after this or anything. I think that we've been here for, how long have we been here for? We've been here for about 47 minutes. That's about long enough. I didn't want to keep you here too long. Didn't want to be doing something too long. So I want to thank everybody for being here today, for listening, everybody that watches back on the stream. I also want to put out, we are close, 51 Dynasties. We are close as a community to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that has liked the videos, subscribed to the channel, retweeted our information, liked our information. Thank you for supporting us on YouTube and showing us that we can grow this channel together. That is also, just before I get out of there, I wanted to explain, that is the reason why I was saying what I was saying about those strikes and not wanting to play that music on our channel, because I have big plans for our channel, and I have big plans for SR51 Media. Rosier's as well. We both do have plans for the SR51 Media brand and the 51 Dynasties. So we want to thank everybody that subscribed. The march to 5,000 continues. When we get there, there will be a video about that. But thank you for your support. And please keep the support coming so we can get past 5,000 and go to the next goal. But I want to thank you again for listening. If you haven't, make sure to visit www.sr51media.com, our official brand website. There you will find streams, podcasts like this, write-up reviews on products we use, write-ups on products that we have used in the past, photos from games. It's a whole big website there for us as a 51 Dynasties community to have, for us to be able to talk and be able to kind of conversate. When you're on social media and sometimes you want to know who somebody is, you want to know a little bit more than just a tagline from YouTube or a photo on Twitter. So that's the reason why we own the brand website, so we can put out information and keep you guys updated. And I think that there needs to be, what I'm trying to do is, I realize there needs to be a couple more write-ups than what had been brought, but I just wanted to make sure they were the right topics. Like today, it feels, great to be able to talk to you guys about our plans for the graphic novel and our plans for upcoming gaming and stuff, because, it's a fast-paced world out here, and before you know it, it'll be the holidays. So I hope you had a great time listening. Don't want to keep you here too long, because if we start talking again, we'll be here forever. So hope you had a great time listening. Thank you for listening. If you watch it back on replay, thank you for watching it back on replay. If you could drop a like and a subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. Help us grow, show YouTube that we're a great show, and get us out there to more communities. And thank you again for listening. Have a great rest of your day.